Hey guys, my name is Ryan Baziaco, and in today's video we're going to go over this math problem that I came across online. It's kind of a fun little riddle thing, and so yeah, I'm going to go over a quick way to do it algebraically. So it gives us two images, which you can see for yourselves here, what the images are. I can zoom in. And so, it has three variables. It has a cat, a turtle, and a table. And it gives some measurements, and it's asking how tall is the table. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So first of all, just for clarity, I've labeled what I'm calling my variables. I'm going to call the cat C. I'm going to call the table T. And I'm going to call the turtle S, because I don't want two T's. It's just going to be confusing. And then you throw in the addition signs that look like T's as well, and it's not going to be how you want it to go. So I'm going to start by making a couple equations. Now, some people, when coming across a problem like this, they're just going to try and plug in some numbers and see what works, which may work for this one because there's quite clean numbers. But if you have a problem where it's going to have answers that aren't exact, there's very simple ways to do it with just some algebraic modeling. So if we look at equation number 1, it's telling us that the cat plus this section of the table gives us 170 meters. Some section of the table, I'm going to call it T1, is giving us 170 centimeters. But obviously, we can dive into what this T1 is, because if we look at this equation, I just labeled this right here, T1. But really what that's representing is just the height of the entire table subtract the height of the turtle. So we can actually change that. Section 1 is just the table minus the turtle. And so that's actually what we're going to put in. And so we're going to put the cat plus the table minus the turtle is going to give us 170. And we can do the same with the one on the right. It's going to be the exact same kind of formula, just we're switching the turtle and the cat. And so if we have the turtle, my mistake there, and then we add in the table and we subtract the cat away, it's going to give us 130. And so me making these two equations right here, I'm just going to put a box around it, because this modeling pretty much just made this a lot more easy to solve. Because you learn it at some point in school, but now what we're actually going to do is we're going to subtract these equations from each other. And really the reason why you want to do that is we have three variables here. It's really hard to solve stuff when you have three variables. It's kind of hard to rearrange it. And so we can just get rid of the table and see what we can do if we move around with the cats. And so since both equations have a positive table, we can just subtract, And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first one and I'm going to subtract number 2 from it. I want that in frame a bit more. So we know it's going to equal 170 minus 130, which is 40. And so on our left side here, let's look at the C's first. If we have C and we're subtracting a negative C, it's going to give us 2C. Okay, now let's look at the s's. We have, in the top equation, as you can see, we have a negative s, and we're subtracting another s. Well, that's just going to be negative 2s. Okay, so I'll write that in here. And then lastly, if we have a table and we subtract a table, well, anything minus itself is just 0, so we're just going to ignore the tables. And so this right here is our nice equation. And so you can probably see that we can simplify this a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide each side by 2. And so dividing the left side by 2, it's going to distribute into each term, and it's just going to give us c minus s. And then 40 divided by 2 is just 20. So this right here tells us that the cat is 20 centimeters taller than the turtle, right? Because let's say the cat is 40, then the turtle has to be 20. But if you look at this equation right here, I'll highlight it in a different color for you. No, I'll just pencil it in here. This equation, c plus t minus s equals 170. We can actually rearrange that just a little bit. And I'm going to write that as c minus s plus t equals 170. And it's important that I do that because right here, I didn't mean to do that. Right here, we know what c minus s is. We know that it gives us 20. And so you can actually substitute that in. This is just 20. And so it's going to be that 20 plus t is 170. Subtract 20 from both sides, and you get that t is equal to 150 centimeters. Okay, and that is our answer because it wanted to know how tall the table was, and we got it. So as you can see, with just a little bit of algebraic manipulation, I think the biggest thing when you come across a problem like this is to put everything you see in the question into equations, because as a mathematician, it should be easier for you to work with. When you do a lot of guess and check, that doesn't really work, but you have to be able to eliminate certain variables and make it easier for you. And you have to recognize that when you have 2 equations that have 3 variables each, generally there's not much you can do to just solely isolate one, but what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up getting an equation that you can then sub back into one of the original ones to then solve for that last unknown. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and